Hello and welcome to Kill James Bond, a podcast where we use the word hauntology a lot. We will be using the word hauntology many times throughout this episode, but we will be refusing to explain it, because this isn't fucking Philosophy Tube. I don't have to explain shit to you. If you want to know what hauntology means, go and read a fucking book.
At Raleigh, if you want to know what hauntology
means. That's right.
If you want to know what hauntology means, simply ask Alex Keeley.
Yeah, sir, I respectfully suggest that you change my assignment to Nassau.
Is there any other reason besides your enthusiasm for water sports?
Hello and welcome back to another episode of Kill James Bond, the hauntological podcast about hauntology. I am hauntological Alice, joining me, hauntological Devon, hauntological Abby, and feeling weird introducing you formally, given that we do a podcast together all the time. It's Milo Edwards from Trashfuture.
Oh, good morning, everyone.
It's not the only reason it's weird to introduce Milo, is it?
Yeah.
Wait, was there another reason?
Yeah. Yes, you are our first and to date only cis guest.
Oh, what
damn.
the fuck? Shit.
Oh, welcome to the show, boy.
I didn't know we were allowing
I'm
that.
the token cis guy.
Yeah, you're forced diversity. We finally been forced to allow a cis person
left have come down on you and forced you to have a cis guest.
Nice gender, loser. Did your mum pick it out for you?
What Milo doesn't know is that we have laced his coffee with estradiol. So by the end of the podcast, balance will have been restored.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm sure I'll be trans by the end, don't worry.
Yeah, it's a forced feminization operation as much as it is a podcast.
Yeah, it wouldn't be the first time that Alice, Dev, and Abby have speculated about turning me trans, so...
That's right, yeah. And we're here to talk about the movie Thunderball. Which...
Named after the National Lottery game.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly. And I mean, I'll just dive straight into it. We start off with another pre-credit scene where we fucking did it, boys. We killed James Bond. He's fucking dead. Because we start by seeing a coffin with JB on it, and you're meant to be like, oh shit.
That's Jim Bowen.
Yeah, that's it. Oh no, they killed Jimmy Ball.
I'm going to miss James Blunt.
They killed
I just turned off the film immediately. I opened it up and was like, oh, beautiful, done. And then just went on my day. It was great.
Yeah.
Walked straight out of a cinema.
It's a guy called Jacques Bouvard, who, incredible name, by the way, who is a French agent of Spectre, and Bond is there watching with a French agent, and he's like, he killed two of my colleagues. I love, incidentally, that she's very helpfully like, the initials on that coffin are also the initials of your name. What are the odds of that? You didn't
Great
notice
French tradition of having your initials on your coffin, just so that everyone knows.
Yeah, and so they follow the widow back to a chateau from the church after this funeral, and then Bond introduces himself to this widow thusly, right?
Madame, I've come to offer my sincere condolences.
Yeah, just fully bonks her right in the face.
Right, yeah. And she's wearing like the full widow outfit, like the veil and the like black hat and everything. But he's fucking clocked her, right? Because as they were getting into the limo to go from the church, Bond noticed that she opened her own car door. And in the 1960s, there is only one possible explanation for a woman opening her own car door. She's a fucking man. She's a man in disguise. She is Colonel Bouvard, which is fucking, it's great. Like, he rips the wig off and it's a stuntman wearing lipstick.
I mean,
I'm
you know,
not dead. I have just transitioned.
Men disguising themselves as women to sneak into Spectre spaces and commit crimes.
Where will it end?
This is what self-ID will usher in, like no movement before.
Now, I mean, what's really funny is when Bond says earlier, this Jacques Bouvard, he killed a couple of my colleagues. I want to know, did he do it the same way? Like, does he have one trick and that's cross-dressing to get close enough to try and murder somebody?
He's like, no, I'm doing this for the mission. I promise. This is not.
Well, this is before being trans was invented. So the only reason to dress as a woman was to like try to murder somebody. And
I'm not
obviously,
taking
I mean,
any
it still
pleasure in
is.
this. It is actually a prank. It is a
These
kind
social
of
experiments.
sophisticated French clowning that you would not understand. With a tiny angular brain, huh?
No, I mean, if there's one thing that British clowning definitely understands, it's dressing as a woman. We love that
That is
shit
true.
in Britain.
We do.
Yeah.
That is very true.
But the hauntology sensor is going off because this scene where he just like takes off her wig and punches her. I'm just like,
There's
oh.
something to be said about the psyche at the time that was like, this is the most terrifying thing I can imagine is a dude dressed as a woman.
devious,
Also-
underhanded French. Yeah.
Sexy, but also dangerous.
He does the whole fight wearing heels. Like he's running
Yeah.
around,
I
he's
mean, like,
rolling.
it's impressive.
It's like
it's
Ginger
phenomenal.
Astaire. He does everything Bond does in backwards and in heels.
I will confess that this part of the film, like the first sort of 40 minutes or so of Thunderball, I didn't pay as much attention to because I'd seen the film before and I thought I remembered more of it than I did. And I was trying to like rig up my new hi-fi system while I was doing it. And so what happened was I was watching the bit with the coffin and then I looked down and then I looked back up again and Bond's fighting a guy in a skirt, tights and heels. And I'm just like, how did we get here? I'm not sure. But I'm sure that you guys will have something to say about it.
This is the exact mindset to go into watching Thunderball with, is having like half watched it once a decade ago. Because I cannot stress enough, right? This is a 2-hour movie. It doesn't need to be.
Yeah.
And it fucking, oh my
2
god.
hours
There's
and
so many
15 fucking
interstitial
minutes.
scenes that do nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the best way to watch this movie is to have something to do, and as soon as someone's underwater, just leave for like 15 to 20 minutes. You'll come back in.
Anyway, Bond kills her with a fire poker.
Yeah,
And then-
she hits him with the poker really hard first, which rules, and then Bond escapes on a jetpack, which is it was a real
real?
jetpack.
Yeah.
It flew for like a minute 20 seconds, and it's great. He gets
Some
into
Inspector
the
Gadget shit. It's pretty
Aston
goofy.
Martin, and like
Yeah.
some French guys are chasing them, and instead of, because like he still has all of the gadgets in the car from the last movie, but instead of using any of the fun ones, he just sprays water at them, and they kind of like, they're shooting at him, but as soon as they get wet, they stop, which is fucking awesome. Just running on like super soaker rules.
Yeah, that's fun.
Yeah, I mean, frankly, if I was like lightly squirted with water, I would also just give up and go home.
Yeah.
But that's your opening sequence. Is Bond is instantly able to clock somebody by whether or not they have car doors opened for them.
Just posting on an anonymous forum like, yo, do I open car doors like an AGP?
Yeah, fucking
Yeah.
opening
This woman's a
sequence.
brick.
Opening sequence. Bond in the women's bathroom, blocking you as soon as
Do
you
be
come
careful with these tucking panties, 007.
You'll be accompanied by 009, Julie Bindle.
Oh
We've sent you. We've sent you to meet Graham Linehan's wife, who is
My wife.
no. The thing is, if they make James Bond again now, because my thesis is that Bond tracks the cultural zeitgeist, it's only a matter of time before we get a trans woman as a villainess in Bond, and some kind of
Awesome.
like dramatic unmasking. Oh god.
I can pull up. I recently rewatched the series Wire in the Blood, which is just a great
classic
Clive
Robson
film
Green.
transphobia.
episode
Yeah.
1. Season
Episode
1.
1, yeah.
It's a trans woman, and they go to such pains to be like, no, this is not someone cross-dressing to do crimes. This is a trans woman. And
Yeah,
they're
lips
gross.
directly
Ugh.
on microphone, and like every like Val McDermott novel, and like if you're into true crime, it's fully like the greatest twist you can imagine is a transgender woman.
I mean,
But-
what's his face? Robert Galbraith.
Galbraith?
Galbraith,
Roberts.
that's it.
J.K. fucking Rowling. Same tropes, same old tropes.
Janet Rowling.
Hauntology, baby. That's what we like.
What are we here to talk about again? Oh yeah, the
Tom
movie
Jones.
Thunderball.
Yeah.
We get a Tom Jones song, which is great. He nearly passed out recording it because
Yeah.
he just held the last note for too long.
I completely forgot it was Tom Jones.
Bond composers love to try to kill the most famous
You know
singers of
you know
the
what's really
1960s.
funny? Johnny Cash sent in a tape for this, and they did not use it. But I'm imagining a Johnny Cash Thunderball.
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 What's also fun is that
balls today.
Tom Jones like asked the song's writer what "Strikes Like Thunderball" means, and the composer's like, I don't really know. It just kind of sounds.
Yeah, and they weren't even. They wrote this at the last minute. They were originally going to use another song. They were going to use "Kiss Kiss Bang Bang," but they wrote this because they were like, no, it has to have the title of the movie in there, otherwise people forget what the movie is.
Even
so
though
we
the
have
movie
to have
doesn't
a
have
song.
the title of the movie in it. Like
Thunderball. Thunderball is an old-fashioned word for a mushroom cloud.
That's right. It's the American slang.
Ah.
Brains genius. Okay, fine. So that's why it's called that. We get our title sequence with some naked women, and then we cut to a scene of parking. We go to Central Paris, where Emilio Largo, this big guy with an eye patch, played by Adolfo Celli, looks fucking awesome. Very big guy. He gets his to establish his bona fides as like an evil guy, right? He gets stopped while he's parking by the world's worst French accented man. He's like, he pulls up and he's like,
Hey, no parking here.
Romanian guy who's emigrated to France to become a parking
It's
attendant.
worse than my French accent.
no parking.
I don't think
Alice,
it's...
that's better. That's too good.
No parking here, man.
No parking here. It's like
Well, I
almost
mean-
Chinese.
Hey, no parking here.
Like, what the fuck is that?
And he makes his way into the International Brotherhood for the Assistance of Stateless Persons, which is like the woke charities once again will be seeming to help people on the surface, but will conceal a secret meeting of Spectre.
Shemima Begum, get at it.
Again, the hauntology alarm is going off once again, because the idea is that, it looks benign on the surface, but actually Spectre are hiding. But they could have used any charity, they could have used anything, but they specifically use a charity that is supposed to help refugees. And we in 2021, we are haunted by the Ed Stone, and we are haunted by this Controls on Immigration mug, and we are haunted by this film as well.
Yeah, we're haunted by the movie Thunderball.
If only there was a word for that, but there isn't, so shut up.
Now, for the audience at home, though, when Abby said we're haunted by this Controls on Immigration mug, she held up her Controls on Immigration mug she has.
Yeah.
That she brought from home.
And the Ed Stone, which I bought. Everyone wondered what happened to it. I got it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we find out that we have the classic Spectre meeting scene, right? They're all it's a bunch of guys in grey flannel suits. They're arranged in chairs, and there's a guy Blofeld in the big chair up front with his face covered, petting the cat. And of course,
I love that the implication is that like none of them know what he looks like other than his bottom half. Like they're just being bossed around by a dick and balls.
I mean, aren't we all...
recognize that dick and balls anywhere.
He's usually nude during these
That's
meetings.
Colonel Bouvard's dick and balls.
Imagine how easy it would be to mislead these people. Just show up and sit in the chair and wear black trousers. You don't even have to be wearing anything on your top half. They don't know. You can be there shirtless.
Yeah.
I mean, he does have a pretty distinctive voice.
I guess so.
I am holding the talking cat, number 2.
You can only talk when you're holding the cat.
Demands reports from like all the far-flung corners of the world, and so like number 3 is like, oh yes, we blackmailed this guy in the USSR. Number 4 is like we smuggled red Chinese narcotics into the US. Another guy's like,
number 3 passes you the booth. Do you accept?
Yeah, we took a consultation fee for the Great Train Robbery.
Which happened the year before this movie came out. They just wrote that into the...
The British government have given us a contract to deliver PPE. We're not really sure what to do with that one.
The classic Blofeld bit. He does this every time. It's his favorite move. He cannot, this is Blofeld's one management style, right? Is we get to a report and he's dissatisfied, and this is what happens.
Are you quite sure all monies have been accounted for by yourself and number 9?
To the penny, number 1.
On the contrary, I have satisfied myself that one of you is clearly guilty of embezzlement. Spectre is a dedicated fraternity whose strength lies in the absolute integrity of its members. The culprit is known to me. I have decided on the appropriate action.
always does this. He always does the fake out, right? Like the guy who he then electrocutes in the chair is just sitting quite smugly while the other guy is being really fucking nervous. And he did the same shit with Kronstein. It's his one move.
I'll get mad about Kronstein later on, don't worry.
Yeah.
I think in the novel, the idea is that he chews out the wrong guy so that the real culprit will relax and therefore more of his body is touching the electrical plates in the chair. Like that's
the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
I know. You should have just installed bigger plates.
Yeah. you get very alarmed at the Spectre meeting when the gong noise starts up. And also when you notice that you're sitting in the big metal chair and everyone else's chair looks normal.
Now, the guy that we saw with the eye patch, Largo, he's number 2, right? And we cut to him while this guy's getting
the
electrocuted.
Worst shit is when the music starts and you all have to swap chairs.
Like, Largo does not give a shit, right? He's just waiting. He's just waiting for this guy to get electrocuted. He's like, whatever. And it makes you wonder.
Well, he's not sitting down.
Yeah, but like it makes you wonder how many times Blofeld has pulled this shit around him that he got to number 2. Like he started out at number 69 or something, and he's just been here for like 50 fucking murders where Blofeld's like, you think it's this guy, but it's actually this guy.
It's like
and
working
every
at
time,
Barclays Capital in 2009. You're just like, it's like
lot.
everyone you know gets fired, and sooner or later you're the MD and you don't know how.
I mean, later on, it's implied that this like plot was going on for at least 2 years before the film.
Yeah.
So this guy must have. I don't know how often Spectre meets. Maybe it's like monthly, but that's a lot of murders.
they've got to kill a guy a month. Yeah, and do you think like to suck up to Blofeld, you have to act surprised every time?
You're like, whoa,
and just
you
be like,
got
yo,
me.
I thought you were going to kill that guy, but instead it's the other guy. That's crazy, though.
What if they were doing this on Zoom? Like, number 4, you're muted. You're muted. Unmute yourself.
And everyone's just like, oh, show us the cat.
Yeah. Number 6, while you're not talking.
Please put your hand on the electrical plate. Yes, it has to be plugged in.
Yeah, COVID's really fucking done a number on Spectre. Poor bastards.
In these unprecedented times.
Number 2 gives his little speech and he reveals the plot. And the plot is they're going to steal 2 nuclear bombs from the British, from the RAF.
The British would never lose nuclear bombs.
Yeah, they're stealing from the RAF, don't you know? And they're going to use them to fucking blackmail Britain. They're going to demand £100 million.
Which is not that much money considering how much this plan must have taken to set up, but whatever.
Nuclear bomb.
Number 6 is like, excuse me, I have a better plan. I've been insinuating myself as Matt Hancock's pub landlord. Now, if you'll hear me out.
Several billion easily.
Have you heard of Turkish PPE? That's right, and no one has, because it doesn't fucking exist.
And so what they do is they introduce this health spa in the south of England that's next to a NATO airbase.
Oh, I loved this scene.
This is so good. Long, my God.
That we spend so much longer than we need to at this fucking health spa, right?
Because Spectre's guy who's orchestrating that bit of the plan, he's like hiding out in the health spa, and who just happens to also be staying at the same health spa,
recuperating from a transgender inflicted fire poker injury.
It's noted sex criminal and British agent James Lothario Bond.
And he starts out by being a sex criminal.
Immediately.
Like, fully. He's like, the nurse who is like looking after his back injury tells him to put his arms up. He puts his arms down over her and he starts fucking kissing her.
Yeah, he just sexually assaults her. Like,
sexual assault. 14 minutes in, baby.
Yeah.
Record pace. Keeps going.
Real bad. Real bad.
He's licensed to do that.
And he's been dicking around investigating one of the guys at the health spa because he thinks he's like a bad guy.
Yeah, Count Lippy, who is Spectre's agent.
What a name.
Spectre's guy. Bond's investigating him because he just happens to be in the health spa.
The way Bond figures out he's a wrong'un, right, is that he's got a Macau Tong sign tattooed on his fucking hand, like a Chinese character, and Bond is like, that's far too exotic for the south of England.
The Chinese are a shifty people.
Oh man, the last 2 fucking films.
Now, I mean, he does also manage to threaten to spank Moneypenny at this point, and I have a drop of this because the line that she has was baffling to me.
Yeah, I wrote this down too.
Okay.
Moneypenny, next time I see you, I'll put you across my knee.
On yogurt and lemon juice? I can hardly wait.
Now, I had to look this up, and I found
Did she
out
have a
what he
stroke?
fucking means. Beans, 42,
Yeah.
scissors. No, the joke
smell
that she's
toast,
making
James?
is that, like, because he's eating and drinking health food shit, like yogurt, I guess, and lemon juice, he's gonna be too weak to spank her?
That's the stupidest
whatever.
possible reading.
You're being force-femmed, James. I'm not sure you'll even be able to sexually harass me by the time you get back here.
Big naturals now, 007.
James, if a transgender woman touched you, you'll become one.
Pay attention, 007. Now, this is an ordinary pair of cat ears.
But observe, they light up.
Yeah. And so he finds a guy with like facial bandages, like a concealed face under bandages. And then
Immediately suspicious.
and then this nurse who he has like already sexually assaulted fucking ties him down to a vibrating bench.
Okay, now this was fucking YouTube Zone level material. Like James Bond gets strapped into the jiggler. They're like, this machine is going to jiggle you until you feel better.
It's gonna jiggle your back. And what she says when she like fully ties him into this thing is
There now. First time I felt really safe all day.
I mean, this man is a dangerous sex pest.
He's a horrendous
Yeah.
bastard.
He is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean,
Yeah. Yeah.
So-
It is weird that they just keep saying that out loud. Like, because like the intention of the film is to sort of play it off as like, oh, it's all in good fun, really. The
Yeah,
women
it's
are enjoying
ribaldry.
it. But then the women are going like, no, this man is terrifying.
no, I
sex pest.
have to tie this man to my sort of weird bench thing to feel
They're
normal.
saying shit in like the voice where you go, James, you old rascal. But what they're saying is, James, you're a rapist. I'm terrified of you. But they're like, you big.
Yeah.
Then Count Lippy, he sneaks in and he nearly accomplishes the mission of the podcast. He nearly does it.
Yeah, he puts the bad and naughty James Bond in the Bond Wiggler, and
Alternate vibrators. Alternate vibrators inserted.
Shut the
Yeah,
fuck up.
he
They
fucking-
turns the Wiggler way up. My man gets properly wiggled. It's a bizarrely homoerotic scene.
Wiggle
why
there,
would
yeah.
this kill him?
Yeah.
Why is this?
That was the bit I didn't understand. Just
Why
like
is getting wiggled bad for you?
the way the camera is like aggressively zooming in and out on the lever that's like set to full. Like, why would this machine have that setting if that's the setting that kills
We've
you?
got a
Like, why
setting
would
that
that
just
just be
wiggles your
an
spine out.
available?
It's very therapeutic. We got this machine
Yeah.
that wiggles you to death.
And then it's just like Sean Connery just like laying on there, like hamming up, going like, I'm being wiggled.
He's like
He
screaming
screams for help and passes out. I mean, Bond nearly dies.
Sean Connery there, played by Michael York, which I guess is just Roger Moore.
You don't have to be wiggled. You can live.
It sounds
gets-
less like Sean Connery than it sounds like fucking Michael
He
York.
gets revenge though because he finds Count Lippy in one of those like sitting sauna baths, and he just fully just like locks him in there with a broom and
first-
tries to broil him.
So the nurse comes back and lets him out. It's like, oh, thank God I found you in time. So Bond is rendered unconscious by the
Immediately.
wiggling machine.
Yeah.
And when he regains consciousness, his prime programming is reasserted and he immediately seeks pussy.
Yeah,
and
do you-
she
do
says,
you want
"Don't
the
tell
drop for
anyone about this." I
no,
do.
No, I have
The
the drop.
training kicks in.
Wouldn't tell Dr. Wayne. Please. I'd lose my job.
Well, I suppose my silence could have a price.
Don't mean... Oh, no.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
Which is
James Bond being played by
Lord.
the Churchill nodding dog.
oh yeah,
Oh, yeah.
So he
Yeah.
blackmails her into sex, and we get.
yeah.
That's rape.
He just he just goes back to his factory settings and rapes the first woman he sees. Now the problem is
Presume
here.
that we haven't quite. I mean, the pussy clock record to beat is 2:33.
Okay,
I think we
I'm
count
gonna-
this as like a 0.00 though,
No,
because like
when she first appeared on the screen, Dev, what's the pussy clock count?
Okay, 2 points. First of all, I think pussy clocks may be a reductive way to call this because we're trying to make a point about how it's bad. But I did start a stopwatch when this woman appeared on screen. This is Patricia. So 3 minutes and 4 seconds after she appeared on screen, she was
Wow.
assaulted. But
Yep.
it's 5
3
minutes,
minutes
and
and
30
4
seconds.
seconds.
5 minutes and 30 seconds before she is just straight up raped by Bond, like blackmailed, which is not as fast as the previous record, about twice as long.
He's slowing down. The woke left have made James Bond less rapey.
So the time to beat from Goldfinger is still 2:33.
He's having to do more due diligence.
Yeah, insane.
2 minutes 33 fucking seconds.
So I mean, we see a bit more of the plan because we see this woman Fiona in bed with a guy who is like French Italian. Like his whole vibe is just this
What
is
if
a
a French
European man. Yeah, and his name is like Commandant Derval, and he's an Air Force guy. And she's like, "Oh, do you have to go?" And he opens the door to see himself. It's a perfect double of himself,
It's
who
filmed
then
really well as well.
Yeah,
Like, you can't tell that there's a screen
him
there.
to death. Takes his dog tag and his watch and his uniform, and is like, right, I'm gonna go infiltrate the NATO plane with the nuclear bombs that this guy was gonna fly on. But before I do that, I know that this organization, Spectre, that I work for, kills people for no reason all the time. I think what I'm going to try and do is hold out for more money. I'm going to do a contract negotiation right
Definitely
now.
a great move for him to do that.
Yeah, she gives him the like envelope full of cash. It's like $100,000, and he's like, "That's not enough. I've been doing this for 2 years, trying to look like that guy. I've had the plastic surgery operations and shit.
I've been going to the French-Italian gym
yeah,
to get more
exactly.
French and Italian.
Why they didn't give him one of the perfect rubber masks from Russia with Love, I'll never know.
Oh, yeah.
I guess they'd lost all the rubber masks. Never mind.
I've been doing the perfect like French-Italian accent. I'm ambiguously European. I want $250,000. And this woman, Fiona, she's like, yeah, sure, I'll just tell him we made a new arrangement. We gotta kill this guy. And the guy's just like, yeah, okay, fine.
It's still like not that much.
Would you mind just touching this metal plate?
Just carry around this metal plates with you.
Yeah. And they're like, yeah, definitely, mate, definitely. Off you go, on your bike, come on.
Yep. And you know the next sequence is like the plan goes off without a hitch, right?
Pretty cool.
We get to see a lot of like RAF chaps who all talk like this. Your commandant, would you like to come to the cockpit? And so to speak. You're getting sucked off by a twink. That's what they want these days. Broadsword calling Danny boy.
No worries. We do that after the mission.
Yeah, and so he poisons all of them, and he hijacks the plane. He does a fucking MH370, and he flies the plane to Largo's yacht, and he ditches it in the water.
A first plane has struck the yacht.
Yeah.
For some reason, there's just a slot on the dashboard of this plane that you can just screw something into, and it goes straight into everyone's oxygen masks.
Yeah, you just fucking shotgun a beer in there.
It's got like
everybody gets...
everyone breathe this in.
Yeah.
And he uses that to kill them all, so... No.
Gives everyone the vape.
In my opinion, I wouldn't have one of those. But,
Commandant Derval passes you the booth by inserting it into the locking lug in the fucking cockpit dashboard.
Commandant Derval's brought us all some laudanum. Wonderful.
Yeah, so he kills all of them. He hijacks the plane. They crash the plane, and then underwater, he's trying to get out of his his harness. And Largo and his dudes from Spectre show up in wetsuits and scuba gear, and Largo cuts his airline and leaves him to die. And the movie kind of suggests that like this is because of the you're not giving me enough money thing, but like I kind of get the sense they were going to do that anyway.
There's no way to tell
honest.
that he wouldn't just do that.
Yeah, he's a loose end, and what do you need that guy for? Just like a guy whose only skill set is pretending to be Italian for 2 years.
Hey.
I mean, during that scene, I was like, "Yo, Largo, he's got £100,000 in an envelope in his front pocket."
Does not give a shit.
Yeah,
Does
yeah.
not even
that out of there.
That's how rich that guy is.
Yeah, so they steal the nuclear bombs, which incidentally have the words "handle like eggs" stenciled on them.
I'll make an omelet, baby.
Means something very different in Belarus.
The underwater sequence where they're stealing the bombs, it goes on way too long, but the thing is, like, when underwater photography had just been perfected to movie quality, it would have been amazing. And I guess filming underwater takes so much work and effort that, of course, you don't want to cut any of it. But listeners, it goes on for like 15 minutes.
It's a 2-hour movie, and the problem with the underwater stuff is there's no dialogue, right? Because there can't be.
And you also can't tell who anyone is.
Yeah, you have a bunch of guys in identical wetsuits, kind of like they're either fighting, or in this case, what they're doing is they're moving the nuclear bombs from the plane to the boat. But
you can tell who Largo is. It's like the portly guy.
It's the guy with the paunch.
They take the nukes, they fucking cover over the plane, and my god, do they show you every fucking second of that process.
Even the dude's like hammering the fucking tent pegs in.
I was like, I get it. I understand.
Yeah, I don't understand why Largo is always in these scuba diving scenes. Like, surely he has a guy for that. Like,
does not delegate.
No.
He's like a water guy.
Front.
He's doing Colonel H. Jones shit.
I mean, as with Goldfinger, we appreciate a villain who gets his hands dirty.
Yeah, 100%.
Lead from the front.
That's just good management. Lead from the front, baby. Great.
Yeah, and although there is a great scene, right? Because Largo takes the bombs and he like gets out of his wetsuit, so he's wearing like the vinyl wetsuit pants, and then the guy he just puts on like a double-breasted suit jacket over
such
that.
A good
and I'm just like, that's a fucking fit.
Yeah,
dude, I have to be honest.
Many would not have the strength to pull this off.
That's right.
Yeah. Bond leaves the clinic.
Captain on deck.
Yeah. But Bond leaves the clinic. This nurse whom he's like raped is now seriously besotted with him.
Oh yeah.
And he has to like get her off of the car.
So there's a bit here that we skipped out, which is that Bond notices like they move the corpse of the pilot into the health clinic to like replace one of the guys, and Bond spots
to replace
it.
because the guy with the bandages on was the guy who was pretending to be Italian.
Yeah, he was.
So they switched the real Italian guy with a fake Italian guy, and by coincidence, Bond discovers this and like foils that particular plot and
he's
sees
in
the guy
that
dead.
room for like a couple of minutes, and Lippy's around the corner, just like slowly putting a silencer on his gun the whole time, and I'm like, shoot him, just kill him.
Those things
Lippy,
take forever to fucking put on, I guess.
They're trying to pass off the Spanish Italian, but fortunately, I've got a background in rudimentary phrenology. The brain pan is all wrong.
No, I took. That's not an Italian brain pan. I'd see that from a mile off.
I'm gonna skip ahead over this next scene, right? Which is Lippy tries to kill Bond, and Fiona kills him by like riding a motorcycle with a rocket launcher on it.
Very cool.
It's cool. Yeah. She blows him the fuck up. That's it. That's the scene.
I'm not going to skip over this. I'm going to say, I want to take a fucking second and say, what the fuck, Blofeld? Lippy is killed here. Distinctly, Blofeld says this because he picked Anglo, a shit guy who jeopardized the mission. Now cast your minds back 2 films to a shit guy who jeopardized the mission. The person who picked the shit guy wasn't killed. He didn't kill Kleb for picking fucking Red Grand. He killed Kronstein. Like, what standard are you applying? This is bad people management. This is terrible.
Kronstein could have been number 2 by now.
No one in Spectre knows what Blofeld wants. It's terrible management style.
Yeah.
That's what he likes, keeping him guessing.
Justice for Kronstein.
Yeah.
Blofeld's trying to do that kind of like mysterious, like, you know, everyone wants to be me.
What does he want? Who knows? He'll just kill you for doing shit. Why not? Just kill anyone for no reason. Cool.
And so we come back to MI6 headquarters in London, MI7 rather, because it's still fucking MI7. And it's a big crisis,
before
right?
The woke left knocked it down one.
Every 00 man in Europe is there. There's all 9 of them.
Julie Bindle, right? She's there too.
Yeah. Well, actually, Abby, you say that.
003
but like,
is a lady, yeah.
There are 9 seats. Bond takes on 7th from the left. So from this, we can deduce 003 is a woman, which is probably the most progressive thing this movie does.
I love the idea they make them sit in order.
And put a fucking pin in that.
Boy, girl, boy, girl.
Like
it is the last progressive thing this movie does.
Yeah. And so they like go through the tape that the government has received, which is literally just give us £100 million or we will blow up a city in the US or the UK with a nuclear bomb.
You could just sell a nuclear bomb for more than that. Even then,
you could ask
surely
for more than that. Like by this point, you're like you're the 3rd nuclear power in the fucking world, right? You could fucking do whatever you want. Like
Ask
could
for
be
more
like,
money. Know your
give
worth,
me
King.
Wales. Yeah, give me a fucking country, right? But instead, they're like, no, give us £100 million because we like money.
What's fun is that the government guy doing the briefing here is the Home Secretary. So nowadays it would be Priti Patel leading this. I just like to imagine.
I think we should take a hard line on these people.
The other point is they're doing this massive secret briefing, and there's this massive fuck off, like floor to ceiling window behind them. Through which you can see other buildings.
Fully in view of the giant map that they have. Yeah, it's great.
I was like, this is where I jack off. Look at people on the street.
Yeah. So Bond goes through this dossier, which has photos of all of the crew members of this plane. And it's got a photo of the real Italian guy, Derval, and his sister, Domino, who is a total smoke show, 100% babe. And it
Bond's
says,
eyes bulge out of his head. He's like, it's like a heart can be seen through his shirt. He says awooga.
Yeah.
It says Nassau on the back, so Bond is immediately fucking teleported to Nassau.
Bond has developed horny teleportation skills.
Yeah, where he finds her scuba diving, and he says this to her, right?
Most girls just paddle around. You swim like a man.
Clocking bitches left and right in this
damn
movie.
it.
It's so good. I'm like, what does this mean, man?
You swim like
swim
a brick.
like-
Posting on an anonymous forum like, yo, do I paddle around like an AGP?
Yeah, you swim like a brick. So he tries to like seduce this girl Domino. He puts the moves on her, and she's kind of like playing along. She's kind of into it, but the whole time they're being followed right around Nassau on the Bahamas with by like these kind of like sweaty dudes, and she's like, oh, those are the guys who work for my guardian. I'm his niece, but like also
Quote,
not really
unquote,
his niece. Yeah,
The same way
he
that, like,
tells people
you live
I'm
with
his
a
niece,
nonce.
but like, yeah, but like actually, I'm his like mistress. I'm his kept woman.
The same
his
way that like
step-niece.
the Russian men in ski towns will often be there with their quote unquote niece.
Yeah, like my friend who once waited at table for Kevin Spacey, and his son did not have a son. Yeah, so like
very hot niece.
Yeah. And so like Bond goes to the casino and he runs into Largo, who has this again incredible fit white dinner jacket.
So
he's in the colonies. You got to have the white dinner jacket.
yeah, just
Yeah.
up top.
In
We
fact,
should
he's
know.
in a casino in the colonies, so it's double.
We should know. Like, it's hard to not notice every single person on the beach and in the casino is white, and every single waiter and servant, you can go back and look it through, they are all black.
The
And this is
casino has
because
a racist lamp.
The
It has
Bahamas-
a lamp in the form of a Moorish
Bahamas, like Jamaica
Wow.
in Dr. No, was a crown colony at the time this movie was shot.
Yeah,
Gain
they probably got a
independence
discount.
figure. Mhm.
In like 7 years after this.
So James Bond
Guaranteed these guys didn't get
undercover walks up to the guy that is, working for Spectre, clocks the massive Spectre ring on his finger, which is cool as hell, this octopus ring, and immediately blows his own
Mr.
cover.
Eichenwald.
Yeah, by saying this, right?
Yes, I thought I saw a spectre at your shoulder.
And it's like, dude, come on.
Yeah.
Even though they have a full photo of you, you don't have to make it that easy for them.
Yeah, he's just like trying to shit them up by like being like, yeah, sure. I suppose things could go a bit nuclear.
Like,
That's actually better than the shit he comes out with, Milo.
Yeah.
I read
Just
it in
as
the
a
opposite
Spectre
my
direction.
twice.
Spectre against your Spectre.
I read it in the opposite direction. I was like, Largo has the worst poker face of all time, because Bond's just saying Spectre so often, and Largo's fully just going like, huh? Every
Yo,
time
what?
he does it, he's like, yo, what?
Spectre, that thing that I'm in? Yeah.
Yo,
you
what did
say
you say
Spectre?
about my boys?
Largo's checking under his chair for electrical plates.
It's like, Largo,
Yeah,
man,
yeah,
come on.
Largo is just like angry Midwest guy who's just like, yo, what the fuck did you say?
Hold up.
Yo, you're lucky I'm
fucking
on
beat your ass.
probation right now.
You're lucky. You're lucky I'm on parole, you little bitch.
You're lucky my niece is here.
Yeah.
So now begins the long second act of the movie, which I can broadly summarize as Bond and Largo just kind of become besties.
They just hang out a bunch. It's kind of cool.
Just hang out.
Just dudes rocking. Like, we are going to have to try and kill each other at some point, but in the meantime, let's just enjoy a bit of male friendship.
Yeah, like Largo sends a guy to spy on him, and he like gets into Bond's hotel room and hides in the shower. And Bond has the fucking actually inspired move of just turning the shower on him and then beating him up.
Yeah.
What's so good during that scene is that Felix Leiter, our boy Felix, he's back and he's gay in this one.
Played by the third actor, third different actor.
He's back, he's gay, he's being played by a guy named Rick Van Nutter.
Yeah, gay, insane. He opens the door and he's like...
Member of Johannes Vonk and the Clockheads.
Yeah.
He's about to like say, oh, how you doing, 007? And he gets like gut punched real hard by Bond. Who then like knocks out... He doesn't knock out the henchman, he just sort of knocks him over. And then immediately...
he just pushes him over.
So Bond gut punches Felix to stop him from saying 007 and giving away his identity to this hidden henchman. And then immediately says it himself while the henchman is completely awake.
That's my line.
It's like, yeah, greatest spy in the world, buddy. Cool.
Never gonna let the Yanks take my lines.
So, sorry, Felix, but you were about to say 007, and the guy's just looking at him like, what? And then he sends him back to Largo.
Yeah.
Gives him his gun back.
Luckily, Largo is not very interested because, like, he's like, you let him get the better of you. He slaps him with a towel, and then he throws him into a pool full of sharks, which he has.
Yeah. Classic Bond villain shit.
An extra $450 to jump into that shark pool. And I would have done that for less, easily. Sharks aren't scary.
I think The Sopranos would have been improved by more of that. Instead of like, like strangling a guy on your boat, just like having like sharks in your swimming pool in New Jersey, just throwing people in there.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's the first of 3 shark pools that show up in the James Bond series. So clearly they were like, this is a sick idea.
You gotta have a shark pool.
This is a fucking sick idea.
It's just like going to that guy's house, like, why do you have this? No reason.
He tries to explain it.
Would you mind touching that metal plate for me?
He has an explanation. He says, I collect these for marine institutions, which, okay.
Yeah, he's just like, yo,
He's an eco-fascist.
Yo, I've got these guys because I think it's sick nasty. What do you mean?
Yeah. So
we
we go
my niece,
to...
Greta Thunberg.
So we go to Station B, the Bahamas, which is the MI6 station there.
Station
it's in the
B
basement
for
of a hut.
Bahamas.
They call them all like that. Like at one point, M is like, yeah, we're sending you to Station C, Canada. Station T, Turkey was in From Russia with Love. And he never just says Station T or Station Turkey. It's always station letter country beginning with that letter, which is fucking great.
There are more than 26. How many letters are there?
Imagine the fight between like fucking China and Canada as to who got to be Station C.
Well, I mean, it's just an example of one of those like little bits of weird army speak that they have in army and intelligence services, like the way that in real life people from MI6 and MI5 refer to them as 6 and 5.
Yeah. So we see the fucking Station B. We meet Paula. I mean, we'd met her before, but Paula is like, I want to talk about Paula. Paula is his Bond's assistant in this movie, right? She's apparently Bahamian, right?
Yeah, she's
apparently from Nassau. And Bond doesn't even bother to introduce her. Like when they meet Felix with this guy, he's like, oh yeah, this is our guy, Pinder. This is our guy in Nassau who does not really have lines. And then he just fucking walks away. And like Felix has to make him introduce her anyway by being like, say, who's that girl? And it's like, yeah, it's Paula.
I think that might have been ADR'd as well.
Paula.
Sorry, Felix. I have pushy
Paula
blindness.
is played by Martin A. Biswick, who was one of the Romany girls from Russia with Love.
Oh yeah.
So probably not Bahamian. I don't know.
They're just constantly recycling people, apart from Felix, who has to be played by a new guy in every film.
Yeah. This guy had fucking Nutter had a contract to appear in the next 2 Bond films as Felix, and they were just like, we can't actually fit that in.
Yeah, no, we're not going to do that. We do get to meet Q though, which is fun. I like this scene. We get this.
Oh no.
007.
And he like
That is good.
introduces him to all of the equipment while Bond's like playing around with it. So he's got like a radioactive pill you can swallow that will like track your location. He's got an underwater
It's going to enable us
camera.
to see your bowel movements.
Let's take this barium smoothie.
He's
007.
not even doing jokes here, ultimately. He's like treating Bond with genuine contempt for a lot of
Yeah,
it.
it's
He's
a
like,
nice
Bond, I
attitude.
know you're a piece of shit idiot. Fuck you. But could you please...
Also, the fact that Q is dressed like a boogaloo boy in this scene.
Yeah. It's a chastity cage, Bond. I expect you to wear it.
There's some great shirts in this film. Most of which
Yeah.
worn by Felix Leiter, who is gay in this one.
Yeah. So Bond is like, okay, fine. I'm going to take all these gadgets. I'm going to get into my red vinyl half swimsuit.
Yeah, what? It's like
And my
the
white
Zardoz
short
thing before it
shorts.
went through a blender.
And I'm going to fucking spy on this guy's yacht, the Disco Volante, where I think he might be keeping the bombs. And he does some spying. There's an underwater fight, more underwater fights. He has to like fake his own death, and eventually he like gets washed ashore, and he has to hitch a lift from Fiona, and she gets to be cool, right? And I think this is interesting because it shows you how little the idea of the femme fatale or like making your movie progressive by having women just get to do epic stuff in it is, which is she gets to do all this stuff. She drives Bond back to his hotel in her Mustang at like 120 miles an hour.
Yeah, and
And-
Bond refuses to put his seatbelt on because he isn't gay.
That's right.
She's like, you should do up your safety belt, and he just doesn't. He just like
no.
refuses to put his seatbelt on.
What do you think I am, Swedish?
Come on.
But unfortunately, we're still in the like Largo and Bond are friends act, and so Largo literally invites him to lunch, and he shows him around. He shows him the shark pool, and he introduces his henchmen, one of whom is called Vargas.
Vargas.
I've been thinking about this line for the last week. The way he introduces Vargas, he offers him a drink, and then he says,
Of course, Vargas does not drink, does not smoke, does not make love. What do you do, Vargas? Every man has his passion. Mine is fishing.
just does not answer that, just moves on.
Yeah, is that supposed to be a euphemism for something? Or
Yeah, like, what is Vargas?
Vargas does not piss, does not shit, does
Vargas,
not
he does
come.
not come.
Vargas was developed by the Honda Corporation as a marketing gimmick. He is a cunning animatronic robot that dances next to Hondas. That is his passion.
Like, you're watching the whole thing, you're like, what is Vargas gay? Like, is he supposed to be gay?
Yeah,
is he
no,
supposed
no,
to
the
have
implication is that
like
he's
a
gay.
fucking
I
developmental
genuinely can't
disorder?
tell. I can't tell what kind of slur or whatever they're trying to apply
Yeah,
to
I
this
don't
dude.
know what the phobia is here. I don't know what the subject of this
He is
characterization
gay
is.
for trees.
Also-
It is a Portuguese thing.
He loves it. Also, a point I should bring up, because Bond gets to do the fucking Boothroyd line on Largo, because Largo is doing like clay pigeon shooting or some shit with Volpe, and Largo's like, why can't we just kill Bond? Volpe's like, we shouldn't for a bit.
Yeah, because they'll know where he is, and they'll know the bombs are here if we
But
kill him.
Actual sensible
meets
explanation.
Bond. Largo meets Bond at the door with his gun, and Bond's like, that's a gay gun for women, idiot.
What kind of femboy gun is this? Femboy.
Just-
I know.
They're
It's a
literally
woman's
trap
gun.
shooting.
On your way to your job at Hooters.
It's like a fucking rifle. Like, what are you talking about, my man?
There are some fucking camp rifles in this movie, though. Like the rifle that
is
Felix
true.
Leiter uses to shoot sharks out of a helicopter.
Ooh.
That is
Yeah.
camp. Also, he really
That's as
did
in he's
shoot
in the
a
helicopter
shark,
and the sharks are in the water. He's not firing the shark out of the
No,
helicopter.
that would be cool.
which would have been way
Would've been
better.
cooler, and also would have killed fewer sharks.
Paula fucking gets neglected again, right? Because like Bond brings back the photos that he took underwater of the yacht, and then she gets cut off in mid-line. She's like dubbed in being like, "Hey, I'll develop those photos," and it just cuts to the next scene.
Yeah, straight up. Gus.
And
It's
the
so
next scene is she gets fucking kidnapped. Fiona raids the hotel room, and they have some like femme for femme banter, and then she just gets fucking kidnapped, right? And Bond finds out about this, and he agrees to like raid the house, the mansion that Largo has, on Nassau by like cutting the power. He cuts the power across the whole island so it's dark. And then he uses that to come up behind a guy, pull his legs out from under him, punch him in the middle of the back, and then
Classic.
leave.
Yeah.
Yeah, dudes rock.
Bond is finally doing spy shit because he spent this entire film just sort of going places and hanging out. He's finally doing spy shit now, but he's wearing all black and hiding against pure white buildings.
Imagine living in the Bahamas and just like once a week the power goes down and you're like fucking MI6 again.
Fucking Bond.
Fucking spy shit.
Bond fucking sucks shit at the spying too. He drops his gun off a roof and it goes off too, which is not safe.
Yeah, that wouldn't. I feel like that wouldn't happen, but
yeah.
Largo just employs perfect himbos, and they're tricked into shooting at each other extremely easily.
It's fully like stimulus response.
This whole
guys.
sequence is kind of pointless because Bond breaks in to try and rescue Paula. It turns out she's taken her suicide pills, or she's already dead.
She's just fucking dead. She's already like withstood torture or whatever, and then she's just like, yeah, no, fuck it. Not gonna wait for this dickhead. I'm just gonna kill myself.
So Bond tries to escape, and then he falls in the shark pool and then gets out.
I want to jump forward a bit. I want to talk about the way in which Paula's death is announced to her presumably boss, presumably friend, this other guy, Pinder. I want to mention the only extent to which he is ever mentioned again in this movie is literally this, right?
Tell Milo to stay with the girl. I'll get back to him just as soon as I can.
Anything else?
Tell him Paula's dead.
Okay.
Like, he didn't even have it in his initial report. They were like, yo, you got anything else for us? And he's like, oh, yeah, actually.
Okay.
Footnote.
Okay.
Paula's dead?
Okay.
Sick.
But like, yeah, no, as you mentioned, Abby, he gets thrown into the shark pool. And this scene is great, right? Because like there's a bunch of plexiglass that's very highly visible in there, separating Sean Connery from the sharks, who also are the most docile looking sharks I've ever seen.
Yeah,
in my
they
life.
don't.
Though at one point during the filming, one of them did wriggle out from behind the plexiglass, and apparently Sean Connery got out of that pool so fucking fast.
Now, I mean, there is this thing, right? First of all, it's an example of Largo doing the, like, placing Bond in an easily escapable situation and assuming it will kill him thing. He, like, locks him in the pool, he seals off the top, and then he opens the fucking hatch that allows the sharks into the pool, which Bond just swims out of.
He could have drowned him, but
defeats
whatever.
him.
Imagine having a guard at the other pool or something. Just
Absolutely
anything
not. Could not be me.
Like, he's got like 30 guys there, and they're all stood around the one pool just looking at it.
I have a sad 1960s detail, which is that this was before the invention of no animals were harmed in the invention of the making of this movie.
Oh, yeah,
the
they
shark
fully
that
kill
comes
animals.
towards Sean Connery, it's a dead shark they're pulling on a wire. But in one of the takes that they did for this, they underestimated the shark, and like Jaws, it came back to life and nearly took a fucking chunk out of the stuntman. So
They kill two sharks on screen in this film, and they really did it. They really did it with bullets.
Yeah,
It's-
no, we had a
disgusting. It's
question
horrible.
in our comments actually a little while back that was like, yo, do they kill the sharks in
Yeah.
this?
Yeah,
And
they
yes,
really
they
do.
do. They fully killed those sharks.
It's like, as a scuba diver and a nature lover, I'm heartbroken.
It's
breaks
just,
the scuba
it's just
code.
not scuba code compliant. Yeah.
There's lots of stuff in here that's not really strictly scuba code compliant.
Yes, that's
Yeah.
true. Most
it's a very scuba heavy
Yeah.
movie. Which
Oh,
It's
God.
very weird. Like
God,
I
there's
feel
so
like
much.
the earlier Bonds are just so much more all over the place in terms of like, let's just do a fucking scuba one. What if?
yeah, let's just
They
do
were
a
like, yo,
water one.
fuck, I just
Yeah.
invented an underwater camera. Let's put it there for like
Fucking
an hour.
scuba Bond. He's supposed to be an SBS guy. Fuck
Yeah.
it.
So Bond escapes. He is like Paula's dead. Okay, whatever. Finds Fiona in his hotel room and he fucks her. Right.
There is this
Fine.
quite charming moment where she's in the bath and she says, "Can you pass me something to wear?" And he gives her a pair of high heels. That's like the one. Like,
It's like,
okay,
yeah,
that
very
is actually
horny.
quite smooth.
You have to admit,
Well
yeah,
done.
there's some good dudes
Yeah.
rock stuff. You know.
Yeah.
There's
So-
a couple, yeah. There is a
So
couple.
like they fuck, right, and then he opens the
But
door
she
in the
fucks
morning.
evil. She fucks like
Yeah,
in like
yeah.
an angry way because she's bad.
Yeah, she's wild. She's like an animal. She should be caged. And like, yeah.
It's just her just like pissing on him. That's some quite freaky shit.
Besides your passion for water sports, God bless it.
There it is.
There it is,
Yeah.
baby.
And as he turns around to close the door, she's got a gun on him.
Oh, no.
And he's had this coming since at least Goldfinger. Here's the fucking speech. And may I say, Queen.
But of course, I forgot your ego, Mr. Bond. James Bond, who only has to make love to a woman and she starts to hear heavenly choir singing. She repents and immediately returns to the side of right and virtue. But not this one. What a blow it must have been. You having a failure.
I mean...
Right, okay. It's well acted, it's a good speech, but it's lifted directly from criticism about the corrective rape of Pussy Galore. And
whatever my haters say I am.
It's not a deconstruction of the trope. Like, to deconstruct it would require more than just shoving a single speech into the fucking dialogue. It's lazy. It's a last-minute addition that attempts to deflect criticism.
I think it's also the other half of the Bond misogyny thing. Is okay, fine, we've set out this criticism of Bond, right? Now that this woman has proven that she can't be fucked good, he's got to fucking kill her, right?
Right, absolutely.
The next 20 minutes of this movie are just filler, basically. She moves him through a sort of local Mardi Gras called the Junkanoo, which they've they've done a disservice to the people of Nassau, if that's what it fucking sounds like, because it's literally just the same 3 trumpet notes and they'll just loop them. So I don't know if people actually go out and listen to doop doo doo. But
people love the Cantina band in the Bahamas.
Yeah, they love jazz music.
I'll defend it slightly. There is a brief scene where there's just a dog pissing in the middle of this.
Yeah, that's cool.
And that's kind of funny.
That's pretty.
And then
good.
there's 10 minutes of just the most confusing visuals you've ever seen in your life.
Yeah, Bond dances with her. She tries to have him killed because I guess in the middle of a nightclub full of people is the perfect time. And she was hyping that up earlier, and he does the thing where he swings her around in front of the bullet, and she gets shot.
Very anticlimactic end to one of my favorite villains so far. I think I'd like to nominate her for the Kronstein Rosette.
Yeah, Fiona Volpe.
Yeah, I'm happy to do that. Also,
she was originally going to be Irish. She was going to be Fiona Kelly, but they cast an Italian woman, and they were like,
"No, Mr. Bond. I think you'll find that it's quite hard to fuck me good. I'll fuck you bad."
I mean, throughout the entire bit where he's dancing with her, all of the other henchmen are just sort of stood around, and my God, they're so fucking good at standing. They're standing so normal. It keeps coming to them, and they're just
real Trump family energy.
Yeah. So Bond goes out with Felix in the helicopter. Felix shoots a couple of sharks for fun, and Bond finds the plane. And he goes into the plane. He finds the body of the fake Italian guy, and he takes his dog tag and his watch, the same things that we saw the guy find earlier. And we get to the closest thing to actual spying, actual human intelligence in this movie, which is he finds Domino. And while she's at her lowest point, while he's just sprung this news on her, your brother, the person that you love most in the world, the person that you just said is the only good person you've ever known, is fucking dead, or she's dead. And now, also, I need you to do something for me. I need you to do something extremely dangerous for me. I need you to do some spying. And while she's fucking emotionally devastated, she's just yeah, okay.
Well, no, she sort of clocks it immediately. She goes, "Oh, that's why you made love to me. All right, fair enough."
Which, yeah.
She's like, "Look, I'll do this, but for him, not for you."
That's not true. I'm also just horny.
Also, at the start of that scene.
Oh, God.
The start of that scene, I have to mention it because I want it to be the fucking episode art.
It has to be, doesn't it?
She fucking steps on a sea urchin or some shit, and Bond just kind of sucks the poison out of her foot.
Now,
it's not really clear why that's in there.
We get an answer as to whether or not Bond eats pussy.
Right,
here, by the
that's
way.
what I was bringing up.
Oh,
he
you're
says,
right.
and I quote,
he says,
It's the first time I've tasted women. They're rather good.
"Case closed. My man does not eat pussy. We discussed this in From Russia with Love."
I'm happy to accept this giant L that I've been handed from when I said doing From Russia with Love that Bond might eat pussy. No, okay, he doesn't. I was
once
wrong.
again always bet on Dev.
Do you think that you can reopen the question of whether or not Bond eats pussy when the actor changes?
Yes,
I think the
so.
different
Roger Moore
007s
would
have
fully
a...
eat pussy.
Yeah, different Bond
Oh,
actors
absolutely.
might
Well,
eat pussy. Connery doesn't.
Yeah,
I could certainly be convinced. wants to eat a pussy.
Okay.
Darling.
But Connery, no. Lazenby, yes. Moore, yes. Dalton,
alarmingly.
Dalton would do it, but you
Dalton
don't
loves
want
it.
him to.
He stays down there.
Yeah.
Brosnan, yes.
Fucking Dalton's
Craig,
like,
no. I think Craig doesn't.
no,
Craig doesn't because
No
it's
way.
too
No
gay.
way.
Yeah.
Mm.
So Bond, like, she reveals, oh hey, there's this secret flight of steps around the back of the Largo's house. So Bond goes to investigate, and he takes the fucking radioactive pill. He Chernobyls himself, I guess. And then it's a long diving sequence.
Yeah,
right?
my
It's a
notes at this
long
point
ass-
say Bond does some underwater shit. IDK. The trouble with underwater scenes is you can't tell who anyone is or get the coverage you need to do coherent editing.
But Bond takes the pill at 1 hour 41 minutes 43 seconds. Right. This sequence
Fuck, he does,
ends at 1:51:19. So we're fully doing 10 minutes of this.
Yeah,
it's guys in wetsuits. They retrieve the bomb. They move the bomb around. Bond gets clocked. He has a fight underwater. And then he gets stuck in this, like, underground cavern thing that's above water.
Yeah, which was where they were storing the bombs. He gets
I
in to try and take
guess.
some photos.
I'm glad
He
I've
gets-
got you
No,
to
I had
explain
look
this
it
to me
up.
because I completely did not get
Yeah.
any of
Yeah,
it.
Felix-
I looked it up just now, yeah.
Felix has to rescue him based on this thing that emits a powerful enough radioactive signal that a helicopter can home in on it that he has swallowed.
Now, yeah, if that's the case, my man is dead. Like,
I mean, we also
Yeah.
know from Dr. No that
Chance.
Bond is immune to radiation.
That is true.
which is good. I guess.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, but like in the course of this, Bond overhears Largo being like, "Okay, you know what we've got to do? Take the bombs and take them to our target area, Miami, because Spectre are more evil than we gave them credit for. They don't just want the like fucking £100 million because they're gonna blow up Miami anyway."
Well, they have
Which
two
is-
nukes. Like, fair enough.
Yeah.
I would have just used one right at the start. Just blow up a
Yeah.
bit. I personally wouldn't have done that. I'd just blow up one and then be like, yeah, look, we've got another. We're clearly
Yeah.
serious. Can we have a lot of money? But whereas they were like, yeah, we've got two. You have to take our word for this. We'd like a small amount of money.
There's an alternate version where Spectre decided to blow up Boston to start with, and they all just got fucking destroyed
Yeah,
immediately.
they'd never managed that.
Like the
No
people
way.
of Boston did not put
That's
up
right,
with
yeah.
that. No.
Mark Wahlberg is James Bond.
They want the money delivered in the form of diamonds
Yep.
dropped
Off
into
the coast of Burma.
yeah,
for
dropped
some
into
reason.
a sea off the coast of Burma.
You may notice that's a ways
Because
from the
we're very
Bahamas.
camp, Mr.
Yeah.
Bond. Yeah.
The else you might notice
it
is
is
the
quite a way.
value of diamonds is kept artificially high. Like, out of any resource, why would
Yeah.
you go for the one that the De Beers have banks
Because they'd
full
already
of?
used gold, and it's not
I
called
would have just gone
gold.
gold
Ball.
again. Like, say what you will, gold is...
So Bond reports all of this
Dogecoin,
about
Mr.
Miami.
Bond. Send us Dogecoin.
yeah, fucking Elon Musk is like...
Are you familiar with GameStop, Mr. Bond?
Rhymes.
the
Rhymes up.
United States deploys the special fucking gay Marines, right? They just
Yeah.
because they clearly realized at some point filming this, okay, everybody looks the same underwater, and we already put the Spectre guys in black wetsuits. What other colors do wetsuits come in? We've got to find a way to make the good guys visually distinct. We see the fucking Marines parachute in to fight underwater wearing like fucking orange Speedos.
Yeah, they're cut real short, too.
Yeah.
They're the Wes Anderson Marine Division.
they're
The Life
Gang
Aquatic with
sent in.
James Bond.
Like, Bond's wearing
yeah.
a similar one. They're legitimately cut like women's, like a bikini. Like, there's a lot of ass on display.
Yeah.
Bond's wearing
Yeah,
white,
they've got like a
shorts.
Bond's wearing one with like a baby growth fastening.
Yeah,
under
exactly.
The
Bond's
crotch
wearing
that,
white
like,
shorts
bars up.
under it, which is loser shit
Yeah.
to
The
me.
chastity cage that Q gave him.
Like,
My favorite
Show me
detail
that
actually
ass.
is he wears this like a couple of times, and the first time he wears it, he takes it off when he gets on the beach to reveal that he's wearing a polo shirt underneath it.
He's a
with a
fucking
pop
weird
collar.
guy. I don't know.
He's a weird dude.
There's a lot of like
Just
wearing clothes underneath other clothes that he does this
just
a lot.
being driven around at 120 miles an hour in a sports car, wearing a totally sodden polo shirt and just dripping into the upholstery.
There's
It's such an
something else.
unpleasant vibe.
There's something else. I'm sure you have the drop for this because everyone clocked it. But he complains about the way like the wetsuit looks on him to Felix Leiter, who is gay in this one. Who says,
Yeah, because he's fucking
yeah,
gay.
and Felix goes, on you, everything looks good. And I just like wrote in my notes, gay,
Everything looks good.
gay, homosexual.
I'm just
Why-
going to set that to loop for the rest of the
On
episode.
you, everything looks good.
When will
Now,
Bond...
you'll be working with the CIA, Bond. The thing is, they're gay.
When will Bond
Brad,
stop
the
chasing
CIA
pussy and
gay.
see what he has right in front of him?
Yeah, and he like tenderly caresses Bond, and he straps a gigantic propane tank onto Bond's back. And this is what I want to be the episode art, not Bond fucking sucking feet. I want to see
Sadly, I'm the one
the
that
thing
uploads
where
these.
Bond arrives, right? Where Bond arrives on the scene of this underwater battle, spraying behind him a jet of like yellow piss to propel
It is
him
very
forward.
strange. I don't know what it's supposed to be.
They love like jetpacks in this.
Yeah,
He's got the
yeah.
air jetpack. He's got the water jetpack. Like, there's a bunch of guys on like fucking underwater 60s ski-doo fucking like scuba limousines. zipping
Yeah,
around,
and they all make this like noise. It's really cool,
yeah,
but like
shooting each other with harpoons.
Yeah,
everyone who gets shot with a harpoon immediately grabs onto it and goes, "Ugh."
Oh, they love to go.
people get like stabbed, people get their airlines cut.
But at the same
there's
time,
a-
it goes on
Yeah.
far too long.
I was like, yeah, there's
I mean,
infinite guys.
it's cool, right? But like, I'm still not over the Bond is being propelled onto the scene by the jet of piss. Apparently, this was green dye, and like the way they shot it turned out yellow. But I don't know why green is better. Why would you have any dye at all? Anyway,
What's extremely funny is at minute 7 of this fight scene, like the camera guy is just filming like interesting looking underwater animals at that point. Like he'd given up
it's just like an
entirely.
eel that goes past.
Like every so often there's
There's
just
a
shots of like a
lobster.
lobster or some shit. Really, the camera guy's bored as hell of this.
Those are all CIA operatives.
We are making it sound a lot more exciting than it really is. Listeners.
Yeah, like as you
And
said
but anyway,
at the top.
the
when
gay
you
Marines, they get one of the bombs back, and then we're on to the boat because the villain's trying to get away on his yacht.
Oh,
Yeah.
I fucking forgot. I forgot
Yeah,
a bit,
we'll
which
do
is
this
that he
bit.
captures Domino.
Yes.
She's trying to do the spying. He immediately catches her, and then he's like, "Because I'm Italian, I'm obviously a sexual sadist. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna torture you." But his idea of torture is he holds up a cigar and a bunch of ice cubes, and then says,
This for heat, these for cold, applied scientifically and slowly. Very, very slowly.
and it's just like, what, dude?
Alice is like, Largo DM me.
Threaten me with a good time, why don't you?
No, this is vanilla shit. Ice cubes. Come on,
It's not
Yeah.
even cold, man. Get some fucking
baby
salt.
shit. Yes,
Some salt with the ice cubes, dude. What the fuck are you doing? Also, like, we didn't mention him ages ago, but it's somewhat.
The
I'm just
nerd
writing
dude.
that down.
There's a
Dave.
nerd guy. Like, there's a dweeb
Yeah,
on
salt
board
and ice cubes.
whose name
Yeah.
is, and I wrote this
Kutzer.
down. More than just Kutzer. His
Kutzer.
name is Ladislav Kutzer.
He's the cuck. That's his role.
Yeah, he's
Ladislav Kunz. What a name.
Ladislav Kutzer, genuinely.
He's the nice guy.
he's a Polish nuclear scientist who's like been employed to like arm these bombs, and he's being paid however many Nobel Prizes worth of money for it.
Yeah, so
But like he sees Domino being tortured, and he's like, "Yo, I don't feel okay with this actually."
he overhears it and he like busts into the room like he's gonna do something.
He's
And then just
calling
doesn't.
out his mates.
Yeah,
He opens up.
exactly.
He's like,
He's like, Largo, mate, that's not very cool, actually. I think you're sort of promoting a kind of unsafe work environment within Spectre. And like, I'm behind what we do, but I really think you should put more thought into the way you treat the women you work with.
So as soon as Largo is out of the room, he just like frees her immediately, and he's like, "Yo, can you put in a good word for me with the CIA? I threw the arming device into the sea. So the bombs are just useless now.
Yeah.
It's like, cool. Okay, thanks, King.
Yeah, and also they're on this boat, which fully looks like one of those like tourist boats you get on the river in a big city.
Yeah.
It should be full of like fat Americans with DSLR cameras.
Doing donuts in commemoration of Captain Tom.
We should maybe talk about the Disco Volante, because it's supposed to be like iconic. Disco Volante, simply Italian for flying saucer. So.
It rules that like all of the crew guys have t-shirts with MY Motor Yacht Disco Volante on them.
Yes, I knew you'd pick up on that.
I would like that shirt, yeah.
I think it's very cool. It's like having a shirt that just says henchmen on it, which
I would also like.
Yeah, very much.
Yeah.
Do you think we would get
to kill James Bond merch?
Do you think we'd get sued if we made Disco Volante shirts? Probably.
Almost
anyway.
Certainly.
Yeah, but the Disco Volante...
If it's just Italian for flying saucer, how can they?
Yeah. The Disco Volante has a party trick, which is... And it really did this. This was a practical effect. The front half of the boat turns into a fucking, like, hydrofoil, and it separates from the back. So the Navy are chasing them down, and he just leaves the back half of his boat behind to shoot at them.
And when we say the Navy, it's like fully a fucking destroyer.
HMS Rothsay.
It's like a massive fucking warship is just shooting at this like back half of a yacht with like two guns on it.
Which is not moving, it's just sitting there, yeah.
The front half of the yacht had everyone on it who could act, because the back half of the yacht has a bunch of extras on, and the yacht is on fire, and then one guy just like saunters casually to the back and just completely belly flops off it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of fun stuff of like a single bullet strikes the back half of the yacht and a guy like jumps off the side.
Yeah.
As though he's been thrown by an explosion.
Yeah. It gets blown up after a while, but like
there's also like a ton of dummies on there as well. That's very funny.
Yeah, it's a fun time. So meanwhile, Bond has like clambered aboard this fast front part of the boat, the hydrofoil. Largo's on it, Domino's on it, and this Polish dude Kutza is on it. And so there's then a fight on the bridge, which is great because the captain's hat gets knocked off 3 times. That's how well it's edited. I counted this.
Why does he keep putting the hat back on?
He's like, no, I'm the captain.
How will they know who's captain?
Bond.
But whoever's wearing the hat is captain.
Yes, different guys keep picking it up and be like,
Bond is like throwing chairs at people, and then like Largo owns him, to be honest. Largo kicks his ass.
There's a point.
Largo's pretty strong for a guy his age.
There's a point where a guy like holding some fucking champagne just comes up the stairs. And then immediately gets his dick kicked in.
Yeah, not quite sure. Like, now's not the time. I didn't fucking order this.
He's just like coming up. He's like, hey, what's up? Oh, fuck.
Yeah, I brought this for aftercare for you and Domino. Yeah, no. No.
There's a weirdly lengthy section where Bond just like for ages slams a guy's head in a door.
Yeah, he does
like,
that like
just like way
glad
longer than necessary.
He does it like 4 or 5 times. He's hitting him in the shoulders every single time. And he's like, hang on, sorry.
And it's one of the henchmen guys who's like wearing a Disco Volante t-shirt, and he like does not pose any threat to Bond at all. He's not even a big guy, but Bond is just beating the absolute shit out of him.
Bond's just going absolute ape shit. He's just
Bond
everyone.
goes sicko mode in this fight, actually.
Yeah.
There's like 5 guys in there.
Yeah. So Largo's about to kill him.
Largo beats him.
And at the last second, Domino shoots him in the back with a harpoon gun. And he gets to do the thing of like grabbing onto the harpoon and going, oh. And he fucking dies. But he dies in a really inconvenient way because he wedges the controls with his like incredibly large body. And so they can't turn it, they can't move him. And you get a bunch of accelerated shots of the boat going in and out of like
so like fast forward.
Oh. God, this footage is so fast.
Yeah.
My God. You have no idea.
3 times speed. It's the same 5-second piece of footage they use it at least 3 times.
No boat has ever traveled that fast.
Yeah, it's like Lake Windermere shit, like fucking like a boat traveling at 200 miles an hour.
Largo also, he confirms like during the scene, he's like, yeah, we've got one of the bombs on board still. We're still fine. And then the ship explodes. And I'm like, is that the second nuclear device Bond has set off in the Caribbean?
Everyone jumps off, Bond and Domino, whose hair and makeup looks great for someone who's been underwater and tortured, by the way. And they throw off the cock Polish guy, who then just disappears from the film. He doesn't appear
he
again.
just gets abandoned.
Because
he's just dead.
in the last scene, he is like allowed to die.
He's like, but I can't swim. And then Bond's like, there's no better time to learn. And just hands him a fucking ring.
And like shoves him.
And then we never see him again.
That guy died.
He's just been abandoned.
Yeah, that guy died in real life. Yeah, no, like incidentally, as part of the special effects for this, the pyro guy gave the director a bunch of experimental rocket fuel to fucking blow up the boat. But he didn't say, hey, only use a bit of this. And so the director just fucking went around with a gas can full of this, just sloshing it around, and then lit it and ran. And the explosion blew out windows in Nassau.
Holy shit.
It's like a record-breaking
It's genuinely
explosion.
like, it's fitting for the name of the movie, because it fucking goes up, right?
Yeah.
It's genuinely the biggest explosion that had ever been in a film at that point. Like, it was
incredible.
But as a consequence, it looks ridiculous because the boat kind of lightly grazes the shore and then just like absolutely goes.
It's like, wow, Italian
Which leads me to
engineering
assume
work.
that's the nuke going off. Like, that's all that leads me to.
So Bond and Domino end up in classic fashion on a life raft. And then we see, because this...
Okay, this bit fucking sent me. When I was like, excuse me.
This was a real strategy that was used by the Coast Guard at the time.
We got to talk about a guy called George Rochon. George Rochon was a U.S. Air Force guy. And he was there with the U.S. military. He was the guy who got them the clearance to fly over Fort Knox. He was the guy who got them the jetpack. He appears as an RAF officer in this movie. In Goldfinger, in fact.
Back then, the accent was the same.
Yeah, that's true. There's a sign on the base at Fort Knox in Goldfinger that's like General Rochon commanding, because like they, as an Easter egg, as thanks for him. But like, one of the things that he got to do in this movie was he got them a Fulton Skyhook system, which was developed for the fucking CIA.
So it's insane.
And if you've played Metal Gear Solid 5, you know what it is. But the idea is you attach yourself to a balloon on a cable. You send that balloon up in the air, and then...
Pennywise, the CIA operative.
A plane with a giant fucking fork on the front of it catches that balloon cable, and they winch you in behind the plane. So you can just you can get into a cargo plane that's flying without having to land. And they actually, this was a real thing, and they used it.
I think they did it like once or twice.
It sounds really safe. That's the first thing that strikes me about it.
Oh, 100%.
It sounds like a great idea. And also, like, it picks Bond up. He's strapped into it, but Domino isn't. She's just, like, hanging on to him.
Yeah, he's just holding her.
Yeah, she is fully just going to fall and, like, hit the water and lose all of her skin.
Domino's gone,
he's coming with us. Yeah, no.
That's what they call a degloving injury.
Ooh. So that's the movie, right?
That's the movie.
What did we make of this film? What did we think?
I think, my take was that it's easily the gayest of the Bond movies so far.
True,
but
100%.
The interesting thing about the homosexual subtext is it's completely unintentional, except for where they wanted to be threatening with it. Like, there's a bunch of shit that happens in it that's gay as hell, but they're clearly like...
I knew everything looks good.
It's clearly just like dudes hanging out to the guys who wrote it. And then everything that they
let me
to be
show you
gay
my
is like,
shark pool, Mr. Bond.
Yeah, he just hangs out with Largo for ages.
Join me.
He just sort of hangs out with him. And it's cool. It's great. There's also a point where he dances with Largo's partner, niece, quote unquote. I don't remember what the character that was.
Yeah.
And Largo comes over to like sort of break that up. And Bond's like, oh, your niece is very good at dancing. And Largo goes, let me show you I'm as good at losing as you are at winning. But I wanted it to just cut off there and be like, yo, let me show you I'm as good. And then they fucking dance.
There's a lot of stuff in this film that's kind of like adult baby shit. Like, the guy's got a girlfriend who's pretending to be his niece.
Yeah.
There's like, Bond is wearing all the weird like baby grow shit at various points.
Yes, yeah. Bond has no kind of drip throughout this entire fucking movie. He looks horrendous.
That is true.
All the time.
The one thing that haunts me from this movie...
Of course. Vargas does not drink, does not smoke, does not make love.
What the fuck does Vargas do?
He gets shot with a harpoon and dies.
What does he do? Because they're clearly trying to set it up for something.
He can only nut.
And Vargas doesn't have a line.
It's like, I feel like we're being led into an in-joke here that we don't know the context for. It's like, yo, you seen this Vargas guy? He doesn't make love, if you know what I mean.
He just really loves pancakes.
He just has like model trains or some shit. Like, what does Largo do?
Yeah, it's like
What does
hearing the
Vargas
back
do?
half of a Milo story about a guy that you met in Russia.
Vargas is like, look, I have a life when I'm not working for Spectre, you know. I just choose not to talk about it at the office because I'm a professional.
Vargas is the Berghain piss guy.
Vargas, he does not fuck. He does not come.
Vargas turns around and he says, the stand of the birds in here is fucking atrocious.
Vargas has one love and it's cocaine.
Yeah.
We have a science-based system on this podcast.
That is true.
Oh, yeah, we do.
We have our patented scum system. We rate the films out of 007 on smarm, cultural insensitivity, unprovoked violence, and misogyny. So what do we think on this one for smarm? I'm tempted to give it a full 7 out of 7.
Yeah, I went at
There's
least
some lines
6.
like, I think he got the point.
Oh,
there's a number of other,
Oh yeah, my partner, she's just dead.
Yes,
fucking
yeah.
Christ. He has no
So that's not
banter.
even a pun.
No banter
No.
at all throughout this entire movie.
No,
7,
shit banter,
6.
shit outfits, 7.
Dead
7.
banter.
7 out of
Yeah.
7.
Cultural insensitivity.
Well, once again, we're on a crown colony, and the only
Yep.
black people
Yeah.
are servants. So
And we gotta talk
I
about
feel
that.
like that was just an accurate representation,
That is
probably,
true.
of what the Bahamas was like.
Certainly.
So I feel like you can't pin that on the film. You can pin that on the British government.
It makes
I will.
all Italians very horny, but again, that's just accuracy in media, so we're not concerned with that.
The most offensive thing to me is that
The fucking
Emilio
refugee
Largo-
charity
No.
is pretty culturally insensitive.
To
if
me,
you ask me.
Adolfo
They're
Celli.
not against the particular culture.
Adolfo Celli had a very strong Sicilian accent, so they dubbed him all the time. And to me, that is
Sucks.
deeply offensive.
Very funny. Because you're doing it to Italians.
Oh, you want to see my
It's
shark paw?
Hey, pal,
Like, we've
check
had
this
we've
shit
been-
out. Yo,
We've been taking a lot of flack for having ridiculous racist accents, so we're not going to let anyone who sounds foreign speak
Just
anymore.
imagining this line in a highly Sicilian accent.
Of course, Vargas does not drink, does not smoke, does not make love.
Hey, it does not drink, it does not fuck.
Vargas. The thing about Vargas, he does not fuck. He does not come.
There's a very stereotypical black guy in the parade who's just like drunk on rum. So I want to give it a few points for that. How do we feel about like a 4, 3 or 4?
I'd go 3. I'd say 3.
I'm happy to pull
Yeah.
a 3. Yep.
Yeah, it's quite low, I would say, yeah.
Okay, which leaves us with unprovoked violence. Now,
I mean, he
very little, I think.
He did murder Volpe.
Mm.
Like, he did murder Fiona Volpe.
Yeah, I suppose that was provoked.
He sort of had
Yeah, because it was like someone else murdered her in the course of trying to murder him.
Yeah, that's like
Kinda.
almost self-defense, kind of.
I want to give it a couple of points for unprovoked violence against sea animals.
Yeah, they did kill 2 sharks. That's actually a
Yeah,
good point.
yeah, that's true. I think we can go for
3.
like a 2?
3? Fucking hell.
Don't worry, those sharks were Italian.
One for each shark.
They
Yeah, they
had
had
to
to
dub those
dub the
sharks.
Fuck. God damn it. Fuck you.
And finally, misogyny.
Oh, it's high. It's got to be
7,
high.
Probably. I mean, we've got
Yeah.
another rape. Now,
Yeah.
the
Pretty
discussion.
solid. You do get a bit of trans representation at the
That
start,
is true.
though.
That is
not
true.
great represent.
No, I feel very represented by this, actually.
The discussion we had, maybe not by us, is the rape at the start. Now, so far we've had 2 rapes on screen in this James Bond series. We've had the last one of Pussy Galore, which is shown within the fiction of the show itself to be literally the one thing that Bond did right through the entire, which is pretty bad.
When you introduce a character that you're calling Pussy Galore, it's always shocking when her portrayal is not entirely feminist coherent.
She's supposed to be a lesbian, isn't it? So there's a corrective rape there that is shown to be like,
Just fuck, I didn't know she was supposed to be.
right? Yeah.
that is.
No, she's a lesbian.
This
It's like
lesbian who will
introducing-
call, say, what sort of names do lesbians have? Pussy Galore.
It's like introducing a gay guy and calling him Dick Suckington.
And then there's the rape in this
Mufti
one.
Divers, the lesbian.
I'm trying to do
Pussy galore and
something
her muff
serious.
divers.
Fuck. And then there's the sensitive. Then there's the rape in this one, which is not shown to be like important to the plot at all. It's
No,
sort
it's
of an afterthought.
incidental.
And I don't know which one is worse in terms of its portrayal. Like the one that's necessary to the plot or the one that is insignificant
I
to the plot.
don't think you can draw a distinction, really.
Exactly.
I think they're both different kinds of like all-consuming misogyny. It's got to be a 7 out of 7.
I think it's a 7 out of 7, yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Justice for sharks.
Yep.
Justice for Sharks. It gives it a total score of 20, which means it's not as bad as Goldfinger, but it's definitely our second worst so far.
Well, that sounds about right. That fits in with the sort of like thing that we've been doing so far.
Well, this movie is supposed to be like the best one.
Yeah, although I have to say this was my least favorite of the films so far. I found
drags.
it like quite. It's really boring.
Yeah,
I've had a lot
it's
more
not a
fun
good one.
recapping it than.
Yeah, Milo, thank you for coming on to watch a very uninteresting film for our comedy podcast.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, we needed
I'm
the
gunning to come back for a Roger Moore at
Oh,
some
you
point.
got it,
Absolutely.
yeah, 100%.
Those are the fun ones.
Yeah, we needed the backup to make this fun.
We're working our way through the sort of, we're grimly progressing through the Sean Connery era, but like once we hit Roger Moore, that's gonna be full camp, and I'm very much looking forward to that.
Hell yeah.
So
Yeah. Fuck scuba space.
yeah,
Yeah.
Moonraker
Yo,
is
come
gonna be
back
fuck.
on
Oh
Moonraker.
yeah,
100%.
100%. So
Come back and rake some fucking
yeah.
moons.
Do we have any closing thoughts about Thunderball or indeed James Bond as a whole?
The thing about Thunderball is that it's the most financially successful Bond film until Skyfall.
Christ, is it?
Like this is the
Really?
one. Of every single discussion between like who's the best Bond villain, obviously Blofeld goes to number 1 easily because these people are dumb. But the second place
No, it's
is
constant.
always up and down between Largo or Goldfinger. And we've now seen the two that are supposed to be the second best villains after Blofeld. So it's not going to go well for us, I don't think.
Oh,
Yeah,
boy.
the newer films, the villains do all kind of suck.
Yeah.
Even like I really like the Brosnan films, but the villains all suck.
I mean,
No,
name
I
any,
will
like-
defend 006 until.
Well, okay,
until
Trevelyan is a
Sean
good.
Bean is,
Ah,
is
yeah.
the best.
We'll get there. We'll get there.
I think it's
as
no
we're
contest.
coming
That
up to-
Goldfinger's definitely like.
Yeah, it's Goldfinger,
Goldfinger's
easily.
definitely better than Largo.
Yeah. So.
Oh yeah.
Goldfinger's got the fits.
Just the plot of this film just baffled me. I mean, insofar as it really had a plot, but just like the whole thing, like all the underwater stuff was so unnecessary. Like actually the bombs were just like on a boat the whole time. So like why well like all of the stuff with the scuba diving was just like we just want to put scuba diving in this
Just
film.
love scuba diving.
I mean,
Passion
And it's
for
like we
water sports.
basically know that these bombs are on this guy's yacht, but we're going to go through all this unnecessary interstitial, like, dudes hanging out, some fucking, some, like, other random shit. There's a gay guy, we're going to murder a shark, and then we're going to do a load of scuba diving, only ultimately so that James Bond can get on a yacht and ascertain that the bombs have been disabled by this random Polish guy who was never mentioned again.
Yeah,
So the entire thing was pointless.
They keep cutting back to scenes with the fucking Home Secretary and M who are going, any more news from Bond? No, nothing.
Nope.
And they're like, it's like, Bond, you could just call this in, man. Like, you've got probable cause to
He's
search
probably
the fucking
shagging.
boat at very least. And also, like, it's like you said earlier on, Abby, like, this was probably the sickest shit anyone had ever seen in 1965 because of all the
Yeah.
underwater shots. But I don't give a fuck about anything that's underwater. So this was nothing to me.
Yeah.
There's nothing
Anything
I care
underwater
about
is
down there.
fundamentally
Not
unserious.
interested. Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's a
doesn't
word
matter.
for that. And the word is
Hauntology.
hauntology.
That's right.
That's right.
Now,
That only leaves me to say that we have a Patreon. You can give us money. You can listen to bonus episodes. And our next one, we're going to do a fucking Q&A. But yeah, Milo.
Oh yeah, I have so many things to plug. I mean, if you listen to this podcast, you probably already know about Trashfuture. If not, maybe check that out. What if a Swedish man was Italian? Who knows? But especially, please check out Masters of Our Domain. It's a podcast that me and Phoebe Roy do, where it's a similar format to Kill James Bond, but Seinfeld. We watch Seinfeld. We endeavor. Where it differs from Kill James Bond is that we discuss Seinfeld so much less than you discuss James Bond.
I think you've got a special
and-
guest coming up on the next episode. haven't
Yeah,
you, Milo?
we have actually every single cast member of Kill James Bond has now been
That's
on
right.
Masters of Our Domain. So check that out.
Yeah, by the time this episode comes out, all of those will be up as well. I'm almost certain, because this is 2 weeks from now. This comes out.
Hell yeah.
Abby's will have come out the previous Monday.
So
Hell yeah.
Go and check those out.
Check that out. Check out Trashfuture. Check out Masters of Our Domain. Check out our Patreon. You can give us money as well. You should do that.
You definitely should do that.
Yeah. And thanks again for watching. And we will be back with James Bond will be returning brackets Japanese with
Oh god.
You don't know what it fucking is.
Oh.
You only live twice.
Fuck me.
Yeah.
See you in a couple of weeks.
Hey all, Devon here again. How's your week been? Oh, you know, I've been alright. Same old, same old. Thanks for listening to the podcast. Kill James Bond will return in 2 weeks' time with You Only Live Twice. But if that is simply too long to wait, we do have a Patreon where we upload bonus episodes on those interstitial weeks. That's patreon.com/killjamesbond, all one word. Special thanks to our £15 and above patrons, and those are Jack Holmes, Paint McCullough, Timothy Pajoni, Jack Bushell, Larry Kins, Valaith, Amanda Rogda, Kentucky Fried Commie, Josh Simmons, Alfredo, Danny, and Elizabeth Cox. This has been Kill James Bond with Devon, Abby, and Alice. Our producer is Nate Bethay, and our podcast art is by Matt Lubchansky. See you next time.